Hello and welcome back to WorldFire 2023. I'm your host, Sydney Young. Now, if you joined us last week, you know that they were loading the kiln. Well, Tuesday, they lit it. I have with me Dr. Scott Meyer. Dr. Scott, can you tell me more about this project?
Well, it kind of started, I guess, as a kind of a reaction after the unfortunate COVID, constraints that we all were under. And a dinosaur like me doesn't understand computers particularly well, but I started realizing how effective they are at reaching people that are not in the same room as you. So after we emerged from all of that awful time, I started thinking, how else can we use this? And, of course, we've been firing this kiln for 23 years here at Montevallo. And but a lot of our colleagues, a lot of our wood firing people all over the world are in fairly remote places. And so if we want to connect with each other in real time while we're all firing at the same time, where we can readily use each other's approaches and learn from each other, I thought this would be a great technology. So, of course, I'm known as a positive irritant. I came up with that idea, and then Professor Jay Cofield, who I want to shout out for all of this, he and you guys made this happen. So we're just firing a kiln. So we built the rocket, but you're landing it on the moon. So.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Scott. Now, we are joined by Clemson and Zhejiang over Skype. Guys, if y'all can hear me, hello, and thank you for joining us.
Here they are.
Hello, we're here.
Hey, perfect. Thank you guys so much for joining us. How are things going over there with you guys?
We've been kept 11:20 to 11:30 the whole night, and we know that you are going night now, and that's our morning now.
Wow.
So they're at temperature now, and that's called a train kiln. Beautiful kiln, and so they've been firing right along, and they are holding temperature. And like she said, it's their morning, so they have been there all night, as our crew has been for the last 3 nights. So it's a constant activity.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. We'll be talking to y'all later. Now, like I said, we are joined by Clemson and Zhejiang, but we are also being used. 4 other kilns are also a part of this project, and we do have a Google Earth video that some students have made to show you where on the Earth that they are. Let's take a look at it. So the first one coming up is going to be ours here in Montevallo. Look at that. Beautiful kiln.
That's pretty cool.
What a beautiful kiln we have.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And do you know when ours was constructed?
Yeah, we built it from 2000 to 02 and fired the first time just about now in 02. So that was our first one. And fired it twice a year for a lot of years, once a year pretty much now. We have to split 14 cords of wood to prepare for one of these firings. So it's a practice that starts us the minute it gets cool enough to do it in the fall. So we've been splitting all that wood since the fall.
Wow, that's nice. There's a lot of wood there, so I know it took a long time. Now, this is going to be one of the other kilns that we have that are joining us with this project. Now, Dr. Scott, can you tell me how you got in contact with these other kilns?
The wood fire community, in fact, the ceramics community in general, are pretty gregarious people, and I don't know why. I mean, I guess we need each other for a lot of these processes. Look at this humming along here with all these people gathered around cooperating. So that's really part of our field anyway, and so folks tend to reach out and tend to know each other. And there's a great lady Elaine Henry, who was a publisher of one of the magazines for a long time and is really hooked up all over the world. So I saw her at a conference last year and said, what do you think of this crazy idea? And she is similarly bent in terms of trying to get people together to cooperate with each other. And so we just got the word out, and This is beyond my wildest thoughts about what would be the case. I mean, we're delighted to have all of these people. They're all incredibly talented and diverse kilns too. So we're kind of looking in on each other's process. It's really really informative for us.
Well, I know it's great to see your idea come alive, and I mean, I'm excited for you. Now, let's talk to some of our kilns that are visiting us on Skype. Clemson, if y'all can hear me, just give me a thumbs up. Perfect. Can y'all tell me what you think about this project?
I had to unmute myself. I think it's really cool. Watch someone halfway across the world fire their kiln, see another university like different kiln. And I think it's great for students because they can interact with one another. They had a little dance party. They talk about their artwork, ideas on how to fire. And I think like for me, best case scenario is most of the time when you fire, you are in the middle of nowhere with no help, and so something like happened. Trial and error. It's an excellent idea. I'm really looking forward to it.
Awesome. Can you tell me what your goals are for this project?
Right now, putting down Tong Technique.
And getting a little sleep, John, right? Remember that?
That's John's problems, but I think one of the goals is to kind of make these connections. Fire the kilns. Have hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry. But to make these connections and like to learn some stuff, but also I think looking towards the future is building a larger community this way and really expanding kilns and for us continuing on with this, but to also like have our camera crew and like make it easier for us to communicate and do a lot of these things and share this and then share this amongst the ceramic community. Yeah, that's one. I mean, it's a whole bunch of goals. There's a whole lot there. There's a lot here to learn from.
Yeah. Final question for y'all: what has been your favorite part of this whole process so far?
Man, for me, it's always firing. It's always seeing another kiln fired, watching the people stoke, seeing the train kiln fired when they're working. As for my students, I'm not sure. They're I think just learning and having fun is the biggest thing.
I always said it's like a classroom on fire. I mean, if you want to know how fuel interacts with air and produces heat, and how kilns operate, this is a pretty hands-on situation. So we don't just teach it. We need them. We need them to do it, And so it's been great watching your students buzzing around and all the other ones around the world, doing their jobs. It's, like I say, it's a community, even though we are the ones that are teaching it.
Yeah, and I also think that a lot of them have really. There's tons of questions. There's tons of just being like, why do we do this, or how does this work? And us explaining it, and those who know a little bit more being like, wow, I this is really cool, and to see them get more excited about clay, and I get to burn stuff too, right?
And when they see what it is, and then they go running back to the studio to make more stuff.
Oh yeah.
Or I see somebody that's petrified of flame but overcomes it And I'm watching her up there stoking and realized that, that's somebody that overcame a tremendous fear in order to really be a big part of our operation.
Thank you so much, Clemson. We will hear back from you in a little bit later. Xiaojing, we want to talk to you now and find out basically the same questions. What do you think about this project, the WorldFire?
Is that our turn?
Sorry?
Sorry.
Can you tell me what you think about WorldFire, about this project?
That's really cool, and we're really curious about how the other people fire their kiln, and I think it's meaningful to communicate with each other, and we really learn a lot from this program.
Yeah, and what are your goals for this collaboration as well?
I think is to learn how the other people fire, and it's
and through the connection, we find that our kilns from all over the world, we become a big community. I think it's also important to have a big community of wood fire, and it makes us to share our techniques, tricks about the wood fire, and so it's a great experience, and we absolutely wants to have special effects of on the craft and the artworks.
Love that. And final question, what has been your favorite part so far?
For me, my favorite part is stoke, because you can see the wood combust in the jumping flame, and it's very exciting and interesting, and also important for wood fire. And another interesting part about our wood fire is we did some wood fire barbecue. It gives us a lot of joy.
yeah, and
It's a good
barbecue.
idea.
Well, we should have done that here.
Yeah, we should. Well, it's still not too late.
Still not too late. We'll try to do it later. Thank you so much, Xiaojing. We'll catch up with you in a little bit to talk some more. Now, there is a website that some students have made in another class just for this project. You can check that lower third on your screen to get there and see what's going on. Now, Dr. Scott, let's take a walk and let's see what's going on over here in the kiln. Can you tell me a little bit about the special Anagama techniques?
Sure. Well, what you're looking at, I think, right now in front of me is the main firebox. And the way that this kiln operates, and of course, one cool thing about this whole project is we're looking at a survey of all the different ways to fire with wood, because we have all these different designs. This is called an Onigama, and it's a single chamber. And the way to understand its shape is basically a bottle on its side that allows heat to climb, but through a progressively narrower channel. And so it's really just a big ramjet. So it draws a venturi through the wood that we're stoking now. So you introduce oxygen through burning wood, and you've got elevated temperatures that aren't possible any other way. So right now, this is a choreography up here. They were talking about dance moves earlier, but this is our stoking dance. It starts at the very back of the kiln, and we have 3 corridors that do not have work in them that are up the side of the kiln. And so we've been side stoking, which is what it's called, for the last day and a half. And it's a way to introduce heat to the back of the kiln, because between the firebox here and the back, we've got about 25 feet, which is pretty significant. So somehow we've got to move that heat back, and side stoking is a way to do it. It also builds a cold bed. It influences the work. And the irony of all of this is the history of this. They would put canisters around their pieces carefully so that they would not get wood-fired effects from their work. So all of those intricate glazes that we're all aware of in history that were high-fired were done that way. Now a bunch of artists decide that we like those techniques, and so this is about trying to achieve them on our work, on our sculpture, on our pots.
That's really cool. I would not be able to do it. It sounds like a lot of work and really confusing to me, but you make it sound so simple.
Well, that's very kind, but yeah, it's you know, it's not rocket science, but it kind of is in a way. It's a little bit like science and alchemy. I mean, I think alchemy is kind of half science, half soul, and if it were a music, it would be jazz. Because each time we fire, you know the melody, but it's played a little differently every time. So
I agree with that. Now, I did hear that you have some tricks for us, a bamboo trick, and I am excited to see this.
Well, yeah, I got to thinking about this and presenting this here, and so my little way to introduce it is it might not work, and if it doesn't, we're going to put a segment of green bamboo under the coal bed, and bamboo, of course, has segments, and it's moist inside of each segment, and it's also air sealed. So it'll heat up under that coal bed, and in about a minute, it'll either pop or it won't. So that's my way to inoculate the audience in terms of their expectations, because we'll put it under there, and we'll wait, and we'll talk to each other, and it either pops or it doesn't. Now, the reason why they originally did that was not just to entertain people, but it was to throw ash. When it pops, it would throw ash all over the work that's in the firebox, and that's actually what we want to have happen. We're doing it tonight because tonight's the last night of the firing, and tomorrow, when we throw ash on the work, we need it to melt, and we need time for it to do that. So tonight's kind of a great window of time to try to do this.
Well, can we see it?
Here we go.
Awesome. Okay, guys, this is going to be so exciting.
Let's see. It either will be or it won't be.
Either way, I'm excited. So
So let's see. Now we wait, and in some cases we wait forever. But I've kind of just told my students, well, it's not going to work, and then pop. So sometimes
we're not
it's
going to get spewed with anything, right?
no, we're
Okay,
not.
okay.
Probably not.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we're not. No, it stays in the kiln. It's a little modest explosion, and it sends ash, where it does. Yeah. And so, again, originally it had the intent of putting ash all over the pieces that you're trying to, create a surface for. So, yeah, just keep going, guys.
Yeah. Okay.
If we wait, we'll wait all night.
So I heard you also have a wood door. What is this one?
Yeah. Now this one is kind of in concert with the last technique that we're going to do. A wood door is a way to introduce wood to the kiln without doing what he's just doing, which is throwing them actually into the coal bed. What he just did is what we've been doing for the last 3 days. But a wooden door will gradually replace the one that's there. So it functions as a door, but it's also burns on the hot side. And so it sends a blowtorch-looking flame through the entire kiln. It's a great way to drop a coal bed and not have it quite as high, because the last thing that I'm going to do is use our overhead chain here and our 10-foot tongs and reach into the firebox and grab a piece and try to put it into the coal bed. And we have charcoal here to kind of enhance the effects on the surface. So I'll put the charcoal in there, we'll stoke it in there through that hole, and then I'll try to do that. I say try because your depth perception is a bit off when you're looking, more or less at the surface of the sun. And but it's a big, long...
Oh, we heard it. Hey, it worked, guys.
It was modest, but I'll take it. So, you would continue to do that, and of course the little explosion would throw that ash all over the place. So
Can we see the wood door?
you can see the wood
Yes.
door. And this will take a little bit of time. So we will build it, then we'll watch it burn, and while it's burning, maybe other things occur, right?
We'll come back and look at it. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm excited, though.
Great, okay, we'll do.
Let's see what's going to happen.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead and side step, and then I'll start building the door. You gotta do the door. You want to, yeah. So they're going to side stoke it. They're going to side stoke, and then I'm going to start doing the door.
Okay, sounds great. Now, can you tell me about how hot the kiln is right now? Oh, my God. We got another one, guys. 2 for 2.
All right, 2 for 2. That makes me feel better. Our firebox is about 2,400 degrees Fahrenheit right now. When you hear them say 1,100, obviously it's Celsius, and we're converting, so we're on different measurement scales. But 2,400 degrees is what we have in the firebox, so that's at temperature now, and the surface kind of gets gooey. And everything that we do, like the bamboo bombs or like what we're doing next, puts more surface on the work, and that's what we're trying to do. So, yeah.
It is very hot out here. It's warm. It's warm near this kiln.
I have gear on, and you don't, so.
Yeah, I won't be getting any closer, is what he's saying.
Yes. You guys stoking? Okay.
Okay, let's see if we can get a shot of them doing this too, because this will be cool to see.
This is the side stoke that we were talking about. So there's a student on each side of the kiln, and they're going to put little tiny pieces in, and they communicate with each other because they have to open together and they have to close together. If they don't, then the remaining person gets a little bit of more flame than they would like. So the idea of cooperation has consequences if you don't, So they are focused, and they've got the right gear on, and they know what they're doing,
I can see those bricks over there glowing.
Yeah. Hello!
Look, they're getting louder every time.
Not so bad.
How many did you put in?
I thought I put in 2, but we had a spare.
Here we go, guys. Okay, Dr. Scott, now explain it to me. What's happening now?
So what's happening is the door is actually fuel. So at once it's closing off the kiln just like a door does to oxygen from outside. And number two, it's not dumping into the cold bed. And, so number three, it's still fuel. It's still fueling the kiln. We're not losing any temperature, but it's going to drop that cold bed. Right now, if you look at the cold bed and you see that diamond effect, that's well known to wood fires. That's a healthy cold bed. That means a healthy mix of air and fuel. And if it's not so healthy, it looks kind of like it's dark, and you have to get in there and mess around with it, or you need to do one of these. So oftentimes we'll do one of these to kind of clear things out a little bit. If I'm going to do the thing with the tongs, I need a cold bed that's not so high, because I won't be able to get it to pieces. So that's why I thought we would do this technique and also prepare for that process. So.
I like it. Now I'm really wishing I had the marshmallows so I could roast them on this. This looks easier to roast them with.
You could hold them in your hand and do that.
I don't know if I'd hold them in my hand. Well, I get a really long stick and do it, but because it's already hot, I don't want to get any closer.
Yeah, right. There's got to be a bad pun involving s'mores, but so gradually we push this in. It'll eventually burn down, and oftentimes people will chase it with another one, and they do hours of this. We're just going to do this one. So some people fire a kiln this way, so they never throw anything directly into a coal bed. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm excited to see how this progresses throughout this show, and we are going to come back and look at this later. Now, since we can't be there in person, obviously, we do have a video to show Zhejiang's firing process. Now, let's take a look at this video, guys.
Hello everyone, here is our kiln, and we're getting ready for it. We're loading, and here are the kiln furnitures. Stokes and works. Hello everyone, it's our pleasure to Skype with all of you this morning, and I remember that Professor Meyer has mentioned the height of the chimney, and we really have a long chimney, nearly 8 meters, and it was a little noisy this morning in the Skype, and we are running outside so we can't hear you clearly, and I think we can explain it now in the WeChat. We can hold a high chimney because we have enlarged the firebox for this kiln, and for the kiln this large, people often make the firebox 1 brick and a half long, and we made it 2 bricks and a half long for this kiln. The firebox, as you can see, so it's suitable for a high chimney, and we think it's easier to control the kiln. Here inside our kiln, this is the front of our kiln, and this is the end. The outside is the chimney, and we have already put some works under the chimney. The works here always surprise us because we get lower temperature here and more ashes. And as you can see, the wall here is to guide the heat to the chimney. And also in front of the kiln, we use the kiln furnitures. The works is already inside, so that the kiln furnitures or the works that is very thick will bear the strongest heat. Hello everyone. As you can see, we will finish our loading soon, and this is how we stacked our kiln furnitures and the wares. And as you can see, the wares are in different materials and in different status.
Some are already fired maturity, and some are just basically fired, and some are even greenware here. It's raining outside, and finally we finished our loading with a nice piece of work from Mark Lothar and the pieces from Professor Bai. Looking forward to tomorrow.
Here we are just light the incense. We just began the praying now, and the first one is light the incense. 3 incense, we put it on the bottom of the kiln, and then we put 3 bowls. Inside is wine, salt, and rice.
就直接俩字儿迷信。
And here we just prepare some fruits like orange, banana, and another one is apple. We will put apples in this plate. Okay, that's all for the praying. The three plates of fruits and 3 bowls of salt, rice, and wine. And now Mentong is light the incense before the firing chamber and praying.
有效果，但是他们昨天晚上断电了，不然的话估计更。
Look at that, guys. That just looks so cool. Okay, well, Xiaozing, I wanted to talk to y'all really quickly. I loved the video. I know, obviously, we can't be there in person, but I loved getting to hear more about your process and your kiln. Now, can you tell me about how many pieces you have in your kiln right now?
So many pieces, and we didn't count.
Probably took y'all a while.
Maybe 80 or 100, maybe. We guess.
That's still a lot of pieces. So for y'all's kiln, what was your goal temperature?
For now? Now we are.
Like about 1300 and like
Celsius.
15 like that, yeah.
Well, it's hot over there too. Good Lord, they're very hot, guys. So how long has this kiln been in use, do you know?
How long? 是不是要我们
We've been using it for 4 years.
Okay, and how long have you guys been using it? I guess you specifically.
Yeah.
Usually we will fire the these kilns about 4 days and 3 nights.
All right, final question. What have you learned during this process? About during the
It's
WorldFire
very
process?
okay. It's very interesting to see the bamboo bomb and wood door. And for us, we use the barbecue to make our coal bed thinner, and we both don't want the coal bed too high, and so we get some coal out and barbecue. So that's the same thing, and it's very interesting to hear different ways to control the height of the coal bed.
All right, thank you. Clemson, well, I see Clemson's busy. It looks like they're stoking theirs right now. Clemson, if y'all have a chance, give me a thumbs up and let me know if y'all can talk. I know they're probably really busy, though, at the moment. They got to keep it hot. Oh! Hello.
Hello.
Bad timing. I'm so sorry.
No, sorry.
So, can y'all tell me about how many pieces y'all have in the kiln?
That's a really good question. There's like 3 or 4 larger works, and then I don't know, 150 pieces of like small mugs, cups, vases, and bowls. But there are a few larger, 20-inch tall vases and pieces in there, but that's my estimate.
Now, what is your temperature right now?
Cone 11 is almost down on top. And then 10 is pretty much down everywhere else except the bottom, where I'm waiting for 9 to go down and 10 next. So 2,300 or so at the top, and probably 22. Our pyrometer doesn't read right after a certain point, so it's pretty much, it's a sort of like a way for me, the barometer essentially, to know when I need to put wood in, watching it go up and down.
And final question, what have you learned during this WorldFire process?
I'm not great with technology. There's a lot of different methods, there's a lot of different kilns out there, and I'd like to fire them all, but we'll see how that goes.
Yes, okay. Zhejiang, Clemson, thank you guys so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Now let's take a look at our kiln real quick and let's see how this wood door is looking. Well, looks like it's going along great. Ooh. I can feel the heat from here. Okay. Okay, guys, well, now let's check out a student film created here on campus titled, What is Anagama?
Hi, I'm Hannah Osborne. I'm a freshman here, and I'm an elementary education major.
So, Hannah, do you know about the Onigama Kiln?
I don't.
So, if you had to take a guess, what would you say it is?
Sounds Greek.
The Onigama Kiln is a kiln, and I think behind the intramural fields. They fire it like once a year or 2 years or something like that. From what I remember from taking intro to ceramics a couple years ago. So.
Okay, cool. So you know a little bit about it.
A little bit, not much. I'm not much of a ceramics gal.
Amanda, what do you know about the Onigama Kiln?
Not really. Not much.
Really. So, if you had to guess, what would you say it is?
Well, I know what a kiln is. It's where ceramics go to basically, like, bake them, kinda. I think it's very intense looking.
It is. A lot of fire.
Yeah. To be completely honest, it kind of looks like a giant pizza oven. So it kind of makes me hungry.
Okay, guys, now one of the other kilns is the Dragon Kiln. Now, they did send up some pictures so we can see what's going on over there. Let's check out these pictures and see what's going on. All right, now just like Jingdezhen, we can't be there in person, but sorry guys. Jingdezhen did send us a video, so let's check out their firing process.
向导，现在由他来为我们介绍一下这个热烧窑吧。
So this is our professor. He's so good at firing this kind of firing. It's called Rockofile. He has a good experience in firing this. He can take us through it.
这是这次我为建水冶金这次活动做的一个热烧窑，然后现在正在进行最后的一些组装。
Right now we are now preparing our kiln, and right now this is what we're going to use, and we are about to finish with the preparation. After then we can now begin to fire.
看到。
这样重点一点，这样的工序就要重复好几遍。对。线真的点先线后面再点，点线只要是大脑先来，再到线缘。你看你这个这是装的，这个容器的问题，这个工具你这边有没有这个宣传片？有专门介绍的？有，我发给你。
Right now, they're now designing the surface of the pot. After this, you take it for fire into the kiln. You can have a look how creative he is. Okay. Now this is now the process, and is now removing the surfaces. As we wait to see how it's going to work. Right. He's now washing the surface to remove the particles. Then let it remain the textures. This is what is called Okay, right now our kiln is now approaching highest temperature. Right now it's about 1100, and it's now ready. Now removing some ashes, and you can see up there the temperature is about 1100. 1100. All right.
All right, and we're back now. I'm back with Dr. Scott Meyer, and he's going to do the Tong technique. So, Dr. Scott, tell me a little bit about this real quick.
Yeah, sure. This is my 10-foot set of tongs. It's on a traveling, thanks to our physical plant, it's on a traveling track. And so you can imagine if you anchor it at the top in one place and you try to move, it'll go up. This will travel with me at the same line, so I can stay steady. It'll go inside. It's a little bit like a raku technique, which everybody that's participating knows is a firing process that involves pulling pieces out of a kiln. Here we're going to keep them in the kiln, but I'm going to try to gracefully move a piece that I see that's mine, so if I mess it up, it's mine. And I'm going to try to put it into a coal bed made of charcoal that we just put in, commercially available charcoal that you grill on, and hope for different colors that might flash and so forth in the finished product. So that piece will be rolling around in there while we continue to stoke for another, 3/4 of a day. So.
Okay. All right, well, if he messes up a student one, we are all witnesses to it.
Yeah, right. That's why.
Okay, guys, let's take a look at this and see what happens. Oh, he's got one. Oh, wow. What do you want next? Oh, right. Awesome. Okay, well, we do have a cool video for us to look at, and it's going to be a Skype collab. Let's see what this is going on.
Y'all hear me? Hello?
Yeah.
Cool. How's the firing going?
Going good.
I'm glad you did. This is so cool. We're going to have some fun.
Slay!
That's true. They have more level. Oh, they're at it. Don't fall.
Clemson looks like they're stoking pretty hard.
It's doing good. This is the wood behind us. We have an Onigama one that's kind of like down a little bit, but it's kind of keeping in center.
Okay, we're going to do that because we're thinking about the families. We're concerned about the families. We were in the beginning, and we will be for the remainder of this investigation.
What's going on?
Because
They could be talking to us right now. Hi. Well, it looks like they were having a lot of fun over Skype during these past few days. Now, I am with the Scotts right now, Dr. Scott and Scott. So, Scott, tell me a little bit about this experience for you.
Oh, geez, this is probably about my 17th firing, so I'm kind of an old hand.
So, have you been here the entire time?
It feels like it, but I'm not. No, but I've been here a lot. Today especially, but yeah.
See, when you start getting gray in your beard, you know you've been around a while. So this is what this process does to us, you know.
We didn't have gray hair when we first started doing this.
So you've been helping with the stoking. I'm hoping I'm saying this the correct term.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
And everything. Loading, making work, loading, we do it all. Splitting wood.
So you're just...
We do it all.
You do it all.
We have to.
Well, thank you, Scott. Dr. Scott, let's take a walk around this kiln. Let's see what's going on here. Now, it looks like over here they're getting ready to stoke it again, right?
Side stoke. Yeah.
Okay, they're going to side stoke.
Probably Scott's doing a little supplemental stoke just because we lost some, fuel off my little venture there. And so we do like a little supplemental stoke, give these guys a chance to get themselves going up here. So you see the flame that's coming out of there now, and that's the natural product of each stoke. So, folks that come up here to do the side stoke have to reach, brick and take the brick off and put the fuel in the kiln. And, they're staring right into the kiln and into flame. So it's... it's a little bit of a learning curve. It's if it's a gut check too, you know. And I'm so proud of them. Every one of our students has been meaningful in this. And, yeah, sometimes I walk halfway up the hill and look back and hear them coordinating all of this together. And, you know, I guess I'm a proud papa.
Yeah, I've been seeing them do this. It takes a lot of teamwork, for sure. You've got to be almost in sync, it seems.
Yeah, you do. And the other night, one of my crew, one of my students had left the lights on in her car, and it was parked up there. So we went up the hill, saw the lights, tried to contact anyone down here via their cell phone. They all had them off. How many times does that happen? No, I think that's great because they were so dialed into this process. How many times do folks turn their cell phones off anymore? So I'm so proud of them.
Well, look at those flames.
Yeah, it's a long stoke. I mean, every time we stoke now, you know, it can take as many as 8 or 10 minutes in between. You know, I'm looking at Clemson with that beautiful kiln that they have, and it's like, you know, it seems like about 15, 20 minutes or even more between their stokes. Meanwhile, we look like some kind of mortar barrage, so, yeah.
Okay. Now, before we get to, we do have some animations that we're going to show. Before we do that, I want to take a quick shot to this wood that they have chopped, you said, since when?
Since mid-October, since it got under 90 degrees outside.
This area was full of wood, and they'll use pretty much all of it before this is over. Now, Dr. Scott, let's take a look at some of these animations that we've got going on. Now, we have one for talking about the temperature. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, you've got a, well, right now you're looking, well, here we go. Yeah, the first thing I can tell you is that the numerical reading is inaccurate. We have found no probe, no thermal couple probe that, you know, you would stick into the environment of the kiln, and it hooks up to a little meter. And ideally, the meter would rise as the temperature rises, and you could read it and have a, you know, some sense of how hot you are. The problem is it's notoriously inaccurate. So my line to my students is I'll take an arrow pointing up to indicate a rise in temperature, or one pointing down indicating a fall in temperature, rather than, you know, trying to make it exact reading. But you do see it climbing steadily because it does agree with itself. So even if it's not the accurate temperature, it does give us some idea of where we are. And you can start to handicap it based on other things that tell a more accurate version of the temperature. So
you brought up doing the ashes. So how long will it take when you're putting those ashes on the fire for the fire to kind of die and for it to get cool enough for you to take the ceramics out?
Take the work out. It's a week cooling. And fortunately, we have a lot of activity at the end of the semester anyway. But it's really hard to lay off and not try to melt a flashlight and look in there. And I know everybody that's involved with WorldFire, they had to have melted at least one flashlight in their life, because you get itchy and you want to see how you did. And I tried desperately to avoid that. But we'll have a week where it cools. And so next Saturday, not tomorrow, but the next one, April 29th, starting at 10 a.m. and going usually until late afternoon. We'll get in there and we'll see pieces that look like museum pieces, except they're fused to something else, or they're fused to the wall or something, and we have to...
Can you tell us a little bit about these comments?
Yeah, these are comments from our log that we keep. Every hour we try to record a temperature reading, and that would include the analog that you just saw the numerical reading for. It also ultimately includes cones, and cones are pyrometric materials that melt at known temperatures, and they look a little like your fingers. And when a finger droops and you look in there and you see it drooping, you know what temperature it is. Unfortunately, they don't fall up again, so you have one shot at knowing the temperature. But anyway, you're looking at these entries that have been recorded now so that you can see what it looks like. And so how many pieces of wood are being thrown in, what's the result of that, if there's any adjustments to that, of which there are many in the kiln that you could adjust the air holes and so forth relative to what you're trying to accomplish for that segment of time. So it's 4.5-hour shifts for us, and we do sleep a little bit sometime, appearances notwithstanding. So other people come on and they read the log and they find out, where we are and what I always try to write also what our goal is for that segment of time. So people that come on know what we're trying to do and, are consistent with their approach.
Thank you, Dr. Scott. Stay by me. Now, it looks like we have been joined by the Dragon Kiln. Now, I don't think anybody's there to talk to us, but let's look at this.
If they haven't already, I can tell you what I know about it, and I'm fascinated. But,
yeah.
This kiln looks like a beast, right? And it's a little under 40 feet long total. The Dragon Kiln apparently is 150 feet long. We have, you just saw us stoking our 3 side stoke ports. Apparently they have 62. So it's a massively larger venture when they fire, obviously. The little choreography that you just saw is I'm sure a small version of what they're doing. I have not seen it fire. I'm familiar with the designs, and its place in history is incredible. This one apparently dates from the Ming Dynasty, and so the original is 600 years old. I'm guessing it's been rebuilt and replaced here and there, but it has the same design and the same effect apparently. So.
Okay, well, guys, they've loaded the kiln. They're going to start putting the ashes on to cool it down. Now, join in next week, like Dr. Scott said, next Saturday, April 29th. That's when we'll be unloading. We'll have another show. Now, before we leave, guys, let's get final thoughts. Dr. Scott, final thoughts on this whole collaboration.
For me, it's beyond words. I'm looking at this screen and out of my mouth about a year and a half ago came the words WorldFire, and then we had to chase that with what the devil does that mean? And I'm looking at what it means right here with these faces and these processes and everything that we share with people that are literally halfway around the world. My mind is blown.
Okay, Shazing, what final thoughts on this whole process? What do you hope to see next year or around this same time?
Sorry, could you please repeat the question?
Yeah, no, you're good. What are your final thoughts on this whole process, and what do you hope to see again next year?
You mean next year's WorldFire?
Yes.
Our final thoughts about the process, I think, first of all, we are very enjoy the whole process and enjoy communicate with Montevallo's kiln and Clemson's kiln and other 2 kilns in China, and we are looking forward to see our results, both of us, and we hope we can all have a perfect or interesting artworks finally. And about the next year's WorldFire, absolutely, we really looking forward to have another time to gather together to have to do the WorldFire, and maybe we can have more like community events, or we can communicate more closely. Yes.
And we think it's interesting that the WorldFire kiln is different from kiln to kiln and year to year. So every year, if we get together, it's meaningful, and all of the results will be different. And we are eager to communicate with all of us.
Yeah, we hope that this is the starting line, not the finish line, for all of us.
Clemson, oh, well, they're stoking the fire again, so.
A very similar process that he's doing right now, so, yep.
Hang on, and. Perfect, are we back?
What was the question?
What are your final thoughts on WorldFire, and what are you hoping to see in the future with this project?
I'm hoping to see more kilns, more involvement, more exchange of ideas and techniques, and to burn more kilns.
I can't say it better, John. I'm looking forward to all of our association to continue. I'm going to talk of maybe a virtual show, maybe an actual show, you know. So there's so many things we could do, even though we're so remote from each other. And I just look forward to all of our associations continuing. It's an honor for us to be part of it.
Well, Clemson, Zhejiang, thank you guys so much for joining us via Skype. I've loved getting to talk to you guys, and I know Dr. Scott's loved getting to talk with you guys and work with y'all. For all of our viewers, thank you so much for watching. And like I said, again, be sure to tune in again next Saturday, April 29th, to see the unloading. You're going to see some really cool projects, I'm sure. All right, thank you guys. And we got a video of the Skype crew. Let's look at that before we leave.
We're Skype crew. We're Skype crew, that's it. I guess it has been fun because for me, my main job has been making sure like the Skype calls are all like connected and everything, and then even like talking with them on WeChat and make sure like any questions get answered, like keep them up to date, like when can we like reconnect with them, like if they're having problems or anything.
This is like, you know, some extracurricular, but a fun extracurricular that, you know, a lot of students really don't get the experience to have. So, and then the Skype crew, this is like on my free time, you know, but I'm getting a good experience because I'm learning how to work Skype and then also learning about this big old outdoor oven. So and just experience being around the actual kiln.
Is an Onigama s'more?